So, hi guys, can you hear me? Or is anyone here? Okay. Well, should we start? Okay. Okay. Let's start. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about, I will present some Discord demos because we implemented some framework or library to communicate directly from Pharo, and I think we have several scenarios how we could use it as a community or anyone personally in their own business. So, well, the implementation itself is on GitHub, a web page which you can see on that. If you want to download it, there is a script, and well, let's move on it. So, yeah, the GitHub account project looks like this. There is some documentation. There is not everything I will show today, but most of them, so you don't lose it if you need it later. And well, I will talk about three options: how to communicate, or how to post messages, how to read messages, and do other stuffs on Discord. The simplest one is called Webhook, which is like low-level effort way to write messages to channels. The most common way people use it is like integration with the GitHub account and with other services, and it posts things like this, that it informs that there was a new commit. Discord supports directly GitHub integration. There is no need to have intermediate service, and also it supports Slack messages. So I suppose I haven't tested that any service that supports communication with Slack can communicate with Discord. I personally haven't tested it. Well, so first let's talk about I forgot. Then the bot application, the standard user, I will explain a bit later. So let's focus on webhooks first. So what I have to do in order to post as a webhook or using API webhook? Well, in the Discord, I need to define a webhook, which I can do, and I will present everything today on the TechTalk. So on the channel, if you are administrator and you have a rights to do it, you can do to the webhooks, then create webhook. Well, you can call it, we will call it TechTalk, and choose an icon. And the important things we need is copy this URL. Then you save it. And that's it. So we already have a webhook defined, and we can play with this. So I will switch to the Pharo, and I will show you the first example. So here's the link of the webhook. So this is what I just copy pasted from the web page, and well, the API looks like this. So I have a client, I have the class webhook client, and I need to put the URL and put a message and send a post. So if I do this, well, I will wait. It's Alexander is. Well, the Alexander has issues with the videos. How it looks like with the others. Now I will wait. Alexander is. Can I see? Live control here. Yeah, it says that it varies. So the others guys are fine with the screen. Well, if you know how to improve it, I can change something, but I don't really see the options to improve it. Okay, so let's continue. So we are now some demos about using the webhook. So there is a first one, which if I execute, we should receive the message. As you can see it on the Discord client. Then if we go back to the Pharo, we can post even more complicated messages like this, which sends some file name, and hopefully you can already see it on the Discord client. And back to the Pharo. Discord supports very rich API to send very complicated, quite complicated objects. They call it embed objects, and I'm not going to explain the details, but it looks like this. So as you can see, what I have just executed, we can have a title, we can have like the structured description with markdown, an image. You can have some footnote and even color to indicate something, and you can change the name. If you can see the name of the webhook changed, and even the icon. That before the icon also looks like this, and the name was TechTalk. So this is how we can play with the webhooks. So back to the slides. So I just explained. I just put those examples. Yeah, Alex asked if the syntax is full markdown. I think it's partial markdown. They just support subset of it, not everything. But I haven't read really in details. I haven't tested it in detail. I know that they support like verbatim mode and the links. Okay, so back to the slides. So I showed these simple examples on how to post simple messages and one a bit complicated. And well, now I would like to show some idea how to integrate and how to use Webhook inside of Pharo. So let's say that I have a method, an example that I would like to share just by one click. So how can I do it now in a Pharo? So I'll just show. Sorry, just check. This is exactly what I want. Okay, so if I execute this, sometimes and I run it, then I can see there are some examples that are nice, and let's say that I would like to share this with the community. One reason to share it is that I'm a developer of this library and just implemented it, and I want to just share new features. Another is that I just browsed the block library and I found this example and I found it useful to share it with the community. And so how I can do it? Well, basically I could now copy paste the screenshot and copy paste the source code and send it to the Discord manually. Or we could have a simple item here, menu item that by clicking could send it, including the source code and including the screenshot. And how can we do this? Well, for this we need to implement a message, a class that I will answer, that I already prepared here. So for this we need a class where we can define some messages. In the first message we need to implement. I forgot to remove it before. Okay, it doesn't matter. When I was testing it, I haven't removed it. So I will just go through the code. By this we will define new item in the Nautilus browser. And what it does, that it asks a model for the selected method. It asks the method as the examples. I just copy pasted this part of code from someone else, and the important things happens here. So if I click on it, it says share example. And how can we share it? Well, to share it we need a return value, which is the view itself. We need to extract the source code, which we do just the example itself knows where it comes from, so it's easy to extract. And we need to compose some descriptions, which starts with that markdown tag, the source code itself. And the message for the Discord client, for the Discord, looks like this. So we define the URL, which I have to copy paste from what we have here. So this is just like secret token. Anyone who has this token can use this webhook. We define at the beginning. Well, we can define a title. I decided to call it example of the day, like as anyone could. The URL could be, well, in that I decided GT toolkit or Pharo. It could be Pharo. And we put the description with the source code and we put a color, and in the end we generate the screenshot, which is a bit tricky that we open it in the inspector. We have to wait for a few seconds because of rendering of the block, and we just post it as an embed morph and it will send automatically. And we add some another. So I just submitted or accepted this code, and if I go back to this example, I should have this share example on Discord. And if I send it, if I click on it, which I just did it, everyone should receive the message, which looks like this, and yeah, with the source code of the method and with a screenshot. I personally find it quite useful, and it would be nice that anyone who has good scripts or examples to share it visually. Why I'm saying this? Because actually you may notice Roasal script of the day, which is already on the Discord for a couple of months, and Alex used it exactly that kind of integration to share the examples. So how it actually happens is that, well, Alex, who usually posts the examples on script of the day, goes to this example browser, clicks on some example. There is a playground with the source code and with the canvas itself, and here is a button. So by clicking on this, which I'm not going to do, the example or script of the day is posted. And I think it could be done in more general way, that more people could do this, and developers and users, Pharo users, could read it. Those examples. Okay, so this is one example, one idea I had how to use the webhook. Everyone is fine with this? Can I follow? Okay, so there's already some people agree about this idea, so we will see how we can push it, that more people get involved. So let's move to the another use case. Well, the another use case comes from Alejandro, who wants to try it, and we haven't deployed that solution yet, but I will inform you how it's happened. But the idea is that, let's say that you have something on a server, your service, and you would like to know about some issues, let's say about errors or strange data. One way to do this is using a Discord, and send a message to the Discord, and from the Discord it can end up in your mobile phone or on other computer where you would like to be notified about. So let's move to the example. So I will first close this. So here I have a simple example of what I just mentioned in the slides. So let's say I have a server which I can just start. I need to. Well, then I will just check that it works. So I can receive some content, so it works. And let's say that I will add some link where it tries to send a text with a number, and from time to time it will, instead of a number, it will do exception of zero divide. So as an example, so if I do this, then, and I will execute several times, yeah, now I have a zero divide, as you can hear in the inspector. And let's say that there are important issues that I would like to be notified about. as a developer or as a responsible for the server. And the way to do it is to put an announcer to check some, to use announcer and handle some announcements, subscribe for some announcement, and do the same post. So I already prepared one. I just copy paste the URL. And I will subscribe for those arrows. So, and now if I execute this several times, just for the first time it's already happened that zero divide, and you can see in your client, in the TechTalk channel, that there are some the message received. The message could be even more richer, like with more data you need. I presented this simple example with this UI. Okay, so let's move to the slides. So this was the idea of how to use the webhooks. So it's one options, how to communicate, how to interact with the Discord. And let's move to the next section. Yeah, I just share the idea. Yeah, the idea of the last example is exactly as Alexander shared on this TechTalk channel, is being informed on your about the behavior of your application, of your servers, or anything you use in your business or in your projects. And this is a really cheap way to do it. It's just a couple of lines. So if you notice, we just need it, like in case of sync server, we just registered for some events, and yeah, what we post, it's really up to us. Okay, so back to the slides. So from the webhook, we will move to bot applications. Bot is like any artificial intelligence or any which can read, write messages, can manage servers, channels, can actually do pretty much anything as a standard user, as me, or as an admin of a Discord server or channels. So first, to configure this requires some steps. I will show it. So we will first create a bot, and then we will authenticate it in the server we have for Pharo community. So how can we do this? So on the first link of the slides, we have to choose the My Applications, which I already have 2 of them, but I will create a new one for this talk. And by clicking on it, we choose one. I will put the icon, and we will create it. And after that, we need to create a bot, which is these sections. We will create a bot user. Yeah. We can make it even public if you wish, so anyone can use it. I'm not really involved in the details of all what's happened on this page. But what we need now is the client ID. So I will copy paste it, because we have a bot, but we can't do really much now. We need to register it. So yeah, so changes are changed. So I copy paste again the client ID, and then we have to go to permissions calculator, where we choose any permissions we think are useful for a specific bot. I haven't tested those yellow one. Yeah, Alex asked what's ERC presence. I haven't tested it, so I don't really know the answer for it. Maybe after the talk I will play it a bit later and I can answer the questions later today. So from this web page we have to go to calculate the permissions, put the client ID here, and once we are done, we will click on this link. Then we have to choose a server. So I will choose a Pharo, where we can add a bot, the bot. Yeah, we can again confirm the permissions and we authorize it. Yeah, so captcha. So, and we are done. So now we can start to play with this. So I have I forgot to copy paste the token. So as you can see that in the first example we need a token, so I'm going back to the web page. And the token is here actually, which is secret, so anyone who has the token can use the bot again. So I will copy paste it, and then we can go to the Pharo. And we can start to use the bot. So yeah, there is a class which is called DS, like Discord bot. We set the token and now we can connect. So if I connect, which actually happened, ideally you should see the button, the demo, the bot online somewhere here. So here you can see TechTalk bot. Yeah, and it explains that it is bot, it's not a real person. Fine. Okay. Well, the bot can do what we have gave him permission for it. So here is some integrations in the GT inspector, so you can see all the channels, and we could go to the TechTalk, and yeah, it even receives some messages, and ideally it even can do some nicer list of messages. And well, the bot itself can also send the messages because we gave it the permission. So if I do this, I execute it, well, we can see the answer here. So this actually happens, and we can see the answer also in the Discord client. And well, the other idea we could do is to listen for some for the changes. For this we need to subscribe for announcement. We have several announcements already implemented, not all of them, and it's ongoing work as on need. So one thing I can do is to subscribe for any of them, and as you can see, someone did something, update presence means get online or offline, and I received the announcement. And if I write, or if I put some just unclassified, and if I write a message on it, then I can see message create. So I could this announcement actually received the message itself, so I could parse it. And this is the next example I'm going to show. So the API for sending and messages is pretty same as a webhook, so I'm not going to present it again. I'm going to disconnect from it for now. And well, what next? Well, why we should use the bot applications? First of all, it's useful for things that for the artificial intelligence, like the Siri. We can see on the if you know the user Apple phone or Apple products, you can ask the Siri to anything and it's tries to answer somehow. If you ask for the weather, it asks for the weather. So the idea why we should use it, or how we can use it a bot in a Pharo community, is, let's say that people has a very common questions and simple to answer is how can I install a blog, how can I install ROASL, how can I or is there any documentation about spec, or is there do we have a library to parse a JSON, and so on. So those questions actually currently are answered by us, by community. We could improve it, and those people could receive the answers faster, and having a bot behind which observes those questions and try to answer it. Actually, the next example goes exactly, is going to be that way, that if someone will ask who is expert in something, well, let's say in playground, then the bot will answer, you can ask, and well, it starts just according to packages and to say Stefan, Andre, or Doru, Alex, and so on. So the implementation is pretty simple and involves that source code. So I'm going to switch to the Pharo. And yeah, there is the same source code as on the slides. So here I need the same token. So I initialize, I will connect. Well, and the implementation is already done and split into two classes. The first class, that one, is able to construct the answer. So I think the interesting methods for now is the first one is like, if there is no way how to answer it, so the bot will answer, sorry, I don't know, with gray color, and that's it, very simple. If there is the way to answer it, then it will answer the question with the generated string, structured hierarchy, and with the color green. That class, the only things it needs is to know the original message in order to know where to answer, like in which channel, and the package name. Yeah, how to extract the package name from the question is done in that class, and it's actually very simple. With ask has expert question, which is like include substring, and if the substring looks like who is expert in, then it will extract the last words and send it to the expected answer object. So the examples itself is available online, so in the Discord examples. So later you can go to in the details if you want to understand or improve it, even if you would like to. So here I will subscribe for just message announcements. Currently it means created message and messages and updated messages, so people can edit existing messages. So we are going to subscribe for this. It just happened. And now I will switch to the client itself. So now if I will write who is expert in playground, hopefully we will receive the answer. So we can see you could ask the following question and exactly this. So you can, who is expert in JSON, if we have this, I'm not sure, or stone, we have a stone for sure, and yeah, who is expert in so yeah, the bot doesn't know, so it has to be improved, his knowledge. So this is the idea how to use the bots, a very simple one. It can be improved by, considering the last talk about the artificial intelligence. You can really improve the way people can ask and to identify the questions and the way to answer those questions. Yeah, sorry for this, that the bot doesn't know about the raw cell. Okay, so let's move to the next topic. Well, for those who are interested about chatbots, from the research point of view, I will leave this slide, which I'm not going to explain, some summary of Alexei Zagalsky, and there are a lot of questions how to integrate like artificial intelligence in the companies, in the organization level. I see the question of Ofrey. I'm not really sure what do you mean by hashtag or keyword. Personally, you can do whatever you want behind the bot. As I said, for example, on really large communities, they usually use bots to observe the communication, and if they find inappropriate content, they just kick out those users. I mean, teaching it directly from the chat channel. Well, yeah, this is, I think, topic for Alexander Bergel, who did a talk about artificial intelligence. So yeah, you can learn from whenever anything you can and process it, and then you can use those knowledge. And Google does this. We just extract all the knowledge from the internet. So definitely yes. This is something like bot learn experts in Russell. Yeah, exactly. So the bot could be improved by observing also the answers and identifying and understanding the answers between of the real users, and can learn from it and next time answer. Yeah, it's a really cool idea and really worth to do it. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the answer. Alex. Which I suppose will support the Ofrey's question. yeah, the processing natural language is not really easy to do. Well, it's nice, yeah, for the next talk in the future, so I will be happy to hear it. So let's go to the slides. So again, anyone who is interested in using chatbots in the organization behavior or as artificial intelligence, there are some topics to research. Well, and we are on the last options, how to use the standard Discord, how to connect, and it means connect as a standard user. It's mean as a me, as with my account, with my email and with my password. The rights and to do it, or the way I can do with these accounts are pretty same as with the bot application. And the Discord company strictly prohibits to use standard accounts, user accounts as for the bots. So be just careful about this and prefer to create a bot for playing with artificial intelligence. So yeah, by obtaining the client email and password, you need to use a web page, standard web page for registration. And I'm going to show a very simple example how to use it. So back to the Pharo and move to another. So here, yeah, I hide my credentials, and I'm not already logged as a with my email. So it's shown here, and you can see that I can see my channels on that server, on Pharo server, and here are back again on the TechTalk channel. So yeah, there is no much distinction between DSBot client and DSBot class and DS client. The only way, the difference is that for the clients you have to define email password, and for the bot you have to define token, which, well, and the sending machines is very, yeah, very similar. I think I already this one disconnected the bot. I'm not sure now. So if I can send a message, but if I remember, I disconnected the bot, so I'm not going to answer. I have the, yeah, I think the question was like in Russell, so I can try it again. Yeah, and the TechTalk bot still works. So as you can see on your client account, you can see the answers. Okay. Well, you can reset. So I'm not going to show the other options how to programmatically use the client account, but I would like to show some real scenario which I think could be useful. It's a nice way to communicate between developers or among developers. And let's say that I have a well, I will show it directly in the Pharo image. So let's close this and move this. So let's say that one thing that here I have an example. Now I have a code snippet playing with the block and to construct with something. And let's say that I have no idea how to do the lines like dashed or dotted. So I could ask on the Discord, And one way to do it is by clicking on this small icon which share code snippet on Discord. So I can do this. Well, I have to currently choose the server and channel. So I will choose the TechTalk. Hi, and I can ask, like, is it possible to make the lines dotted? Yeah, it will share, and I will send it, and we will see what happened. So the message was sent, and we can we can see it here. Yeah, the script is quite extensive, so here is the questions. There are some data used for the communication between Pharo images, so not going to explain the detail now. But here is the message for the user, for the readers. So this icon identifies that you can download it in the Pharo directly, and you can see that there are some new things, like a screenshot itself of the playground, and it informs where it comes from. So we made it in Pharo 6 of that bits and on macOS. And here is a link which I can click on it. It will take a bit time because it redirects us to a web page where people can copy paste this link, and they will receive the same playground with the same code snippet I had when I was sending the message. So I copy paste this. Actually, I'm not going to use the MetaChello because it takes time to download really the Discord client, and I'm going to jump to another Pharo image which I put in the dark theme in order to distinguish that this is a really different image. And I paste this script, and I'm going to execute it. And what it does is it downloads the message from Discord. It actually doesn't need the authentication. It doesn't need to authenticate, and well, here I have the same script with the same data, and I'm not expert in blocks, so I don't know how to answer it. But once it's changed or modified by, let's say, Alex Cyril, who is the expert in block, he could click on the same icon, well, choose the same channel and answer, yeah, this is the answer, and the response could be pretty similar in the way it is visible on the Discord. So was the clear this idea of how to ask and how to answer? Hopefully yes, because it was the last use case I had for you. Just like one very last remark. This icon is actually integrated in the playground, but also in the inspector. If I it just happened something with my image. Okay, thankfully it's the last thing I needed to do. So I will show it here. So you can see that it's even here on the inspector, and it serializes at the moment the data, the object itself, inspect it, and the it will send a screenshot as it is here. And very similarly, like, let's say if I decided to debug this, we have the send tag to the Discord. So it will send a serialized tag to Discord the same way, and we can download it the same way I did it by clicking on the link. Well, and last remark, I can also, there is no really full client yet for Pharo. This is. But if I use this inspector integration, I can see the messages here, and I can even click on that message, and here is icon inspect the received object, so I can click on it and it does actually do the same things as the script from the web page. So this is another way to obtain that directly the playground or any other shared object or stack from the Discord. Well, this is really everything I wanted to share today. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully it works, the stream. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. What I would like to hear from you, maybe on mailing list or on Discord itself, the ideas how to integrate the Discord in your projects, how to improve your experience. It can be for community, it can be for your company, and I'll be happy to help and to learn from it. So send me your ideas by email or by Discord or mailing list. Okay, so I'm waiting for some questions, if there are any. Looks like there are no questions for now, so yeah, I'm waiting for the very last message from Ofrey. Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure there is a time for questions, so if you have a question, you can ask. Please ask on the TechTalk channel. I don't follow currently another channel. Okay, I have to check what metrics is about. Open network for security and central communication. Okay. Yeah, I'm just answering the Stefan Egermont the note. We extracted those information from old versions of I think from version 5 and 4, 6, 5 and 4, if I remember, as it was easy to extract from the changes. the distributed JSON database for chatting. Okay, so I'm still waiting for a question. Okay. So okay, so now I understand the first question. Well, the Discord bot is really follows the API of the Discord service, and I don't think so. There is a way to make it general. I can imagine that any other service use their own API, own way to communicate. So it would be necessary to check how much different it is. I don't think so. It's going to be easy to just use the existing Discord client and use it for the metrics, because the same things happen for Slack if you want to use it. If you want to use it for another services, you have to implement the API, and the API of the other services are not shared, are not the same. Hopefully I answered your question. The developer communication, developer documentation actually happens here. If you just go Discord developers, and there are all the details about it. So Stefan asked a question about the metrics, which is completely unrelated. Yeah, I can change things to simulation. Well, okay, so I think we are done. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in another Tech Talk. Bye.